It's now been 4 days since Kentucky State Police say a London police officer shot and killed Doug Harless. Much of the community here in Laurel County feels they've been left in the dark on what exactly happened here on Van Zant Road that night. One of the questions being raised is, did police go to the wrong home, and did they shoot a man who had nothing to do with their investigation? Kentucky State Police say a London police officer shot and killed Doug Harless at 511 Van Zant Road in Lilly Monday night.
Van Zant Road, stand by in the area, shots fired.
While police initially made no mention of whether Harless was armed, Thursday, 3 days after the shooting, London police said he, quote, produced a firearm and pointed it at officers. KSP says during that encounter, an LPD officer shot Harless.
They have EMS going for the perpetrator who's been hit 3 and 4. They still have other units en route to the scene.
This is 511 Van Zant Road, where KSP says the shooting happened. But according to Laurel County dispatch audio we've obtained, London police were attempting to serve a search warrant for this house, 489 Van Zant.
This is London PD, 48 Van Zant Road, 489 Van Zant Road. Units on scene, attempt to serve search warrant. Calling on the radio for assistance, shots fired. 489 Van Zant Road.
We went to the Laurel County Circuit Court to get a copy of the search warrant. As of right now, the courts say they do not have those papers, but will get them once they do. We've also requested copies from police, along with body cam video from that night.
I just want justice served, you know, because I believe he was done wrong.
London police are heard banging on Harless's door and announcing themselves. They're heard again over the sound of barking dogs. As we speed things up to 11:51, officers are seen moving around Harless's porch as others move to different positions around his home. Then, what sounds like 5 gunshots. And then things get quiet. Several officers are seen exiting the home while others gather in the yard. This search warrant was filed by KSP in the days after the shooting, where KSP says a London police officer shot and killed Doug Harless. Now, this contains new information about the moments leading up to that shooting. First, it holds the answer to one of the biggest questions in this case, which is why were London police on Van Zant Road that night? Now, this says London police were there to serve a search warrant connected to an investigation over stolen lawn equipment. Hobart Buttrey is accused of stealing a weed eater from property public records show is owned by the Laurel County Judge Executive. He was arrested just hours before Harless was killed. His citation says he told police the weed eater was at a home in Lilly. We came to the Laurel County Correctional Center to get Buttrey's side of the story.
I told them on Van Zant Road there was a weed eater there, and they took it to where they wanted to go with that.
Back in 2016, the London Police Department announced their officers had started wearing body cameras. But new records we've obtained from the department say they, quote, temporarily suspended their use in March of 2023. The London Police Department says they obtained 35 body cameras and an accompanying computer server for $45,000, paid for with federal dollars seized during criminal investigations. At the time, the department said the cameras were to be worn during any law enforcement activity. After wearing their cameras, officers called them helpful, saying they let the public see how they interact with the community. According to this directive from then Chief Chuck Johnson, the department stopped using body-worn cameras on March 15, 2023. He wrote that many of the cameras were broken and the department was responsible for the cost of the server, as well as keeping someone on staff to process open records requests for the footage. 63-year-old Doug Harless was shot and killed just 2 days before Christmas. The next morning, Laurel County Judge Executive David Westerfield called a London police officer to find out the latest about the search for his missing items. He made the call through a police dispatch number. Now, WKYT has obtained that recording through an open records request.
Okay, and the boy was shot and killed, right? That's my understanding. I'm not very. They've not told us anything about it, so. Yeah, I understand. No, they called me at 1 o'clock this morning and told me all about it.
The officer explains to Westerfield police obtained the search warrant after the arrest of Hobart Buttry. He told them he took a stolen weed eater to a, quote, dope dealer's house off of Vanzant Road in the Lilly community. Police ended up on that road the night before this call. They told dispatchers they were at 489 Vanzant.
They were at 49 Vanzant Road.
Doug Harless was shot at 511, raising the question, were officers at the wrong home? In their 10-minute call, Westerfield also says his neighbors saw a homeless man by his building where the equipment was stolen. The officer then offers to have the night shift sergeants go out to Westerfield's property.
We end up finding them. Trespassing verbally off the property, and you want them hooked. I do.
Now, a dispatch report from that night explains minute by minute what happened. The run started at 11:26 p.m., labeled as serving a warrant. That's when 7 officers are dispatched and later shown en route to 489 Vanzant Road. Using documents obtained through open records requests, we've identified them as these 7 officers. They arrive at 11:48. Surveillance video from a neighbor shows officers making several attempts to knock on Harless's door and announcing themselves before what sounds like 5 gunshots. From the dispatch report, we know an officer told dispatch shots were fired at 11:51. That's when EMS is dispatched to the scene. At 11:52, Chief Jerry Holland is dispatched to the scene. KSP is shown en route 1 minute later. At 11:57, an officer says crews are rendering aid. Just 2 minutes later, another officer notifies dispatch a tourniquet has been applied. Around this time, Officer Cody Arnold is shown arriving at the scene. He's never listed as being dispatched or en route. Several units from the Laurel County Sheriff's Office and EMS units are dispatched and arrive in the meantime. Chief Holland arrives at 12:08 a.m. Assistant Chief Bobby Day shows up 17 minutes later. At 12:55, Officer Josh Morgan is shown arriving at the scene. He's never listed as being dispatched or en route. Seconds later, Officer Morgan and Chief Holland's status is shown as 10:12, which means officials or visitors are present. Less than a minute later, they're both shown heading to police headquarters.
Doug, you're missed, you're loved.
It's important to honor Doug. We've focused so much on fighting for justice.
There are 3 words that have taken on an important meaning here in Laurel County: justice for Doug. More than a phrase, it's become a movement in the months since Doug Harless was shot and killed by London police. Kentucky State Police say officers were attempting to serve a search warrant when Harless was killed. While KSP made no mention of Harless being armed, days after the shooting, London police said he pointed a gun at officers before one of them shot and killed him.
It happened less than 4 miles from my home, and I can't imagine the fear, and I can't imagine what his family is going through. And I just want everybody to remember that this was a great man.
Since Harless was killed, the people of Laurel County have fought for answers. Thursday night, they braved the cold to hold a candlelight vigil for Harless.
We have come together as a community for someone that most of us have not even met before.
But despite their efforts,
there's a lot of questions. We don't know anything. The public knows nothing. We're being told nothing.
Questions remain.
We have people that want the truth.
But one thing is for certain, this community won't stop until their questions are answered. Kentucky State Police say officers were there to serve a search warrant, but within minutes, that attempt turned deadly.
It breaks our heart every time we hear them gunshots. We have to watch that every day, knowing our brother was on the other side of that door.
One of those officers shot and killed Doug Harless inside his home that night, according to KSP. Now his sister, Angie Martin, wants to know why.
When you lose someone, you grieve. You take that time to grieve. To us, we can't get that. As long as they're in an open investigation.
Since the shooting, police have remained tight-lipped about the details. While KSP says the warrant was being served at 511 Vanzant Road, court records and dispatch audio indicate the warrant was being served for 489 Vanzant Road.
When they got there, did they not communicate with each other of someone You know, are we at the correct address?
It's just one of many unanswered questions Martin says keeps her up at night. Martin also wants to know what, if anything, is being done to prevent what happened to Doug from happening to someone else.
We are needing answers to our questions. And every time we ask those questions of the chief of police, of the mayor, we get told it's under investigation. These questions we are asking will not hurt that investigation. These are logical questions.